This is a quick video on my new custom trunk that we just finished. It's not a how-to video, so if you're looking for that, go look elsewhere. There's actually a good series I watched, had some 4 or 5 parts that I watched prior to this, and it actually helped me out a lot. But I'm just going to give you sort of what happened in my experience with this. So yesterday I went out to the Home Depot, actually the Lowe's, went to the Lowe's and got some regular 3/4 inch plywood. It was actually, I got the cheapest size I could find. I want to say it was about a 5 by 5 foot section. Had to have it cut in half to fit in the car. But it's just, normal 3/4 inch plywood. It was about 15 bucks for the whole sheet, which is the cheapest wood I could find there. I didn't want to pay 80 bucks for a huge piece of MDF, unfortunately, so I was just trying to go the cheapest as possible. But basically I got that and bought a roll of carpet. This is my leftover. It's just normal high-grade carpet. You can get it in black, a multitude of grays, burgundy, brown, and grass green. And that's about 76 cents a square foot. That's actually the most expensive one they had. The others were 67 cents, and I think there were some that were 55 cents. And those are thinner, and those will actually work in your advantage. But this stuff is a lot more thicker and a little bit more durable. But what we have here, this is my old Kenwood 12-inch subwoofer. It was in a box, and honestly it was taking up too much room. It had to be strapped down, and my original metal piece was bending really badly. So I did a whole custom, this is a false floor. It's laid right over top of the original floor, and the best way to go about doing this, sorry about the yard work noise going on in the background, that's a neighbor, but the best way to go about doing this is pull out all of your original panels and go ahead and trace them and cut them out perfectly, and go ahead and test fit them and make sure they are a tad loose. You do not want them to be like flying around, and you don't want them to be so tight that you're like kicking them in place, but you want them to be a tad loose so that it can make room for the carpet on each four sides. And what will end up happening is, as you go higher in your car, it curves out a little bit more, so it is going to make a little bit of room and leeway, since it'll be about an inch higher from the original floor. And yeah, so that's basically what you want to do. Carpeting is pretty difficult. I actually had my friend do all of the carpeting, but I cut everything out and test fitted everything and designed it. So I did have to add some spacers, because the back panel here, the original is not underneath that, because it was making it too high and it was popping out. So you can see the original is right there. And the middle one, the original one is not in there. As I said, it was bending. It's right there in the garbage now. And I did leave the 2 side pieces on. I actually made the middle one into one piece so that the subwoofer could have more stability, which did make it, a lot harder to pull it out when I needed to. If you're going to leave your original spare tire in there, which I don't, it's going to be harder to lift that piece out just because of the way it fits in the corner. But you know what, it's not going to be that much of an issue for me, since I don't need to go down there that much. And the original supports were right under here, and they were just really small metal ones, and my main piece actually had to be done in 2 pieces So there's actually about a 2 or 3 inch piece that's glued on the edge here. We did have to put one screw in it because it popped loose. But other than that, it's been holding up fine, and I do have a little wood support in there that I made out of that 1x3 board there. And you want to carpet that on every spot that's going to be touching like a hard wood or hard metal, because that's going to reduce vibrations. If you have that just like wood on wood, like underneath this, the bottom is not carpeted. So if that was just wood on wood, it could cause more vibrations. So we did carpet that fully, and you can see I put in some spacers back here, and the corners are lining up pretty nicely. This one is ever so slightly higher. That's because this is on top of a fully flush original piece, and this one is just supported in the corners, and it has spacers and needs to be a little bit more refined. But this took about 5 hours with 2 people working as fast as they could, not sloppily though, just staying diligent. So that was first time myself. I used a jigsaw to cut everything out and then sanded it. And so yeah, basically you'll need a jigsaw and a drill, couple bits and stuff like that, of course. And my friend who had experience wrapping the wood before, so he was able to do that. I cut everything out, made the supports, made the design for this, screwed this in, put this little adapter here. On the other side it has prongs that this actually connects to, and that's my wire that is coming directly from my amp. So that's ran underneath, and everything is working pretty well. I would recommend adding a handle. I actually did buy a handle right here. This is a couple bucks at Lowe's. I haven't had the chance to drill it on yet because we ran out of daylight last night, but just drill through the bottom, put that there. I would recommend putting it where your most of your weight is, so like right there, center it up with the sub, so it'll be easier instead of trying to grab around the corner and pull it up, especially if you have 2 pieces, because you don't want to stress that all the weight on one piece. And I did have some little hooks that came in the car. I might be able to put those back in, but I think I'm going to leave them out just for the cleaner look. And yeah, so I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have about doing this. Give yourself, I'd say, 7 hours if you're doing this by yourself. Because wrapping those panels, especially the larger irregular shaped ones, is going to take a while. And if you have 2 people, probably 4 to 5 hours. And yeah, so that's pretty much it. Thank you guys for watching.